All right. So I think we're officially recording. Okay. So as I said, we're going to be talking about continuing to talk about the designation application, specifically the district boundary proposal, as well as your building inventory. So I think everyone is pretty tuned into your meeting controls with Teams nowadays, but keep yourselves muted during the meeting. And then we are being recorded right now, as you know, and use the chat feature for asking any questions, though. Please, raise your hands, use that little hand feature. You can see the little icons down there if you have a question at some point. We do have some designated areas where we'll have a little bit more engagement and kind of get back into the swing of things like we've been doing in the previous, but with less time. Don't hit that big red button. Stick around till the very end. So I do want to do a roll call. We're going to do things a little bit differently. So I have a question here. What is one word that describes the character of your Main Street district? And what we're going for also is authenticity. So no repetition. Everybody can't say quaint. All right. In fact, I just said it, so nobody could say that. So what we're really trying to capture here is what makes you unique. Just one word. We're going to do this quickly. We want to be punchy and move through it. So I'm just going to call out a community. So be ready to unmute. Colonial Beach.
The beach.
Beach. See, that's a good one. That definitely makes you unique. Buena Vista. You here?
Mountain.
Charming.
Nice. Got 2 out of that one. Petersburg.
Oh.
Historic.
Historic. Right on. Covington.
You say whatever you say.
No.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Big Stone Gap.
Music.
Ooh.
Diverse.
Oh, gotta love that. Galax.
Oh.
What was that? Can you repeat that, Galax, if that was you? You got to get up and unmute, huh?
I'm frustrated. We're having an IT issue, so I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
It is. No, it's not. What's the group want to say?
One word. One word that describes a character. What was that?
Diversity.
Diversity. I like it. Martinsville.
Petersburg stole mine. I'd say potential.
Ooh, okay. That's a good one too. Clarksville.
Lake Town.
Ooh, they only. Hilton Village. Are you here? Are you here? There's somebody here representing Hilton Village. All right. Phoebus. Anybody here from Phoebus?
Friendly.
What was that?
Friendly.
Friendly. Very nice. Thank you. All right, guys. So we captured you. You're officially here. So as I said, we're going to do it. This is the agenda for today. Announcement. I've got an announcement for you. This is really a repetition, pushing something forward for you so you don't forget. We're going to talk about this local district proposal, the building inventory. We'll talk about homework, which you can do moving forward. And then we'll have some time for questions. Though, like I said, there's some programming in here to a chance to connect. All right, so the announcement. So I think you guys have probably seen the e-blast, but we've got the Virginia Economic Developers Association summer meeting coming up in Danville. That is June 3rd through 4th. The theme is the intersection of community and economic development. And Matt Wagner from Main Street America will be kicking off with the downtown as the keynote. And there's lots of other wonderful sessions that are coming up, including the VMS Awards Luncheon, which is on June 4th. So you can submit an award nomination. If you guys have a great project that you've done over the last year and a half or so, I believe, then you can submit an award nomination. There is the Main Street Champion, the Main Street Changemaker, Impactful Placemaking, Entrepreneurship Game Changer, Promotional Innovation, and Power Preservation. Those are the categories. So the nomination is actually hyperlinked here, so you guys can take a look at that. So you all qualify as mobilizing Main Street communities. And so there are scholarships available to cover the cost of either one person attending both days or two people attending only one day. So you just need to RSVP to Main Street at dhcd.virginia.gov. Oh, the picture is overlapping the V, but you should be able to click on that and get to it. And so if you email the request for a scholarship, then you don't have to do anything beyond that. We'll get you registered. All right. Let's see. So let's get on to this proposal. So I'm just doing a quick, review of the application. Of course, there are 5 sections, and the proposal and the inventory are part of the historic and built environment section, which really talks about the physical characteristics, including your architecture, green spaces, and so forth. And so there are 3 attachments. We're only talking about 2 today, though I do bring up the nomination part. So the boundary application and the building inventory. The commercial district nomination form, that's the historic district. That's the National Register one. So you guys have probably uploaded that in the past, so you should have your hands on that one. That can help you get a jump start on the building inventory. But the one we're really talking about here for the bulk of this meeting is the boundary proposal. And I did email it earlier, and I have it here. I can throw it in the link if you guys want to look at it while. Let's see, let me do it. Copy it. Copy link. I'm going to put it in here again. So if you want to look at it while we're talking about, because I know this is kind of tiny. But really what we're talking about here is a tool to help us assess the suitability of the district. So your boundaries and what you're including in it. And this is really to keep it focused around that preservation based approach to downtown revitalizations. So what you're going to do is with your application, submit this proposal, and then we'll collaborate with you to finalize the boundaries. And so the underlying guide through all of this are that your district demonstrates that it's pedestrian-friendly scale and orientation. It has the concentrations of building and businesses. You're looking for that density, and a critical mass of structures eligible for rehab incentives. So I'll go in a little bit more detail about that. So let's talk about each of those questions. Let's see. I got notes. Let me just have them ready. All right. So to ensure that you've got the right setting, the first question is based around a little bit of a survey. So you've got 3 choices. Try to keep it as simple as possible. 1, you meet that metric and it's achieved, or you don't meet the metric at all, and that would be not achieved. But if you've got some tweaking that you need to do around some of these metrics, then you can select improvement needed. And you'll have an opportunity to talk about some of those things in the rest of the proposal. So as far as the pedestrian scale and orientation, really we're talking about boundaries demonstrate a pedestrian-friendly scale and orientation with infrastructure that facilitates the flow of people. So designed around people, people-centered, human scale, such as sidewalks, crosswalks, and ground floor storefronts. So we're talking about infrastructure designed around people and as human scale. So you can see on the right, very dense sidewalks. On the left here, of course, the extreme side of things, that's all auto-oriented. Doesn't even have sidewalks in this case, so that wouldn't be an ideal setting, and so then wouldn't be achieved. But there might be something in between. You might start to see some things in your district where you've got large spaces in between buildings, and you start to get a little too much distance. So that might be one of those areas where improvement is needed. So so this gives you an opportunity to do that. This is another good example of that, what I was talking about. So the boundary demonstrates a compact size with consistent building setbacks and a regular pattern of sidewalks, allowing the district to comfortably be walked by pedestrians from end to end. And you can see in this map here for the not achieved, it includes a fairground, which is very large, where you're starting to get out of that pedestrian feel. And some of the buildings are losing their density and walkability. This particular district is really, really large. I'm only showing you a little bit of it. So that needed to be tweaked. And on the right, you can see the density here in Warrenton. It's pretty compact, historic commercial district that is designed around people. So it does have that density, easily to be walked from one side to the other. Then you have to have that concentration of commercial. So concentration of mixed use, commercial, or commercially zoned properties. Now this is, pretty drastic here. We're looking at, in the not achieved, all residential in that case. Now we're looking for a concentration of businesses. So that doesn't mean that you can't have residential in there, but we want to get away from that residential feel. So having homes actually within the district. So that's getting to be more of a residential neighborhood. We want to have the storefronts, the mixed use space, residential upstairs on the second floor or beyond that. So we want to get away from the residential. We're focusing on the commercially zoned area. And you have to have that historic district, so that focuses on the historic downtown core, showing a critical mass of structures eligible for rehabilitation incentives, such as state and federal historic tax credits and local tax abatements. You may or may not have that in your town. So of course, what we're seeing here is some strip development on the left, obviously not historic, developed in the probably in the 80s. That's going to be auto-oriented. Where on the right, we've got the historic buildings. This is part of the National Register, the Virginia Landmarks Register. And in some cases, you might have some newer development that's in there. Doesn't mean you leave it out, but you want it has to be within the historic district, or say just there on the edge, adjacent to. But that's something that we can talk about. So there might be some tweaks in there where your district is just a little too large and including a little too much. And I do want to say that this doesn't mean that your businesses that are outside the district can't participate with you. It just means that they're probably not going to be included in some of the incentives that are offered within your district and your priorities of your program. You have to have this focused district because you have limited human and financial resources. You want to keep your program focused on a specific district that has these assets that are ready for these historic preservation activities. These businesses outside can still participate with you as sponsors or just really as if they have an interest in economic development. And that is not exclusive in what I've just listed. All right, so that's the simple survey. So question 2, you describe the physical boundary. So this just gives you an opportunity, now that you've completed the survey, to give us a little bit more information. This is the narrative piece. So describe the physical boundaries for your proposed Main Street district and why the boundaries were selected. So I just chose some language to help you understand what we're talking about. The northern boundary includes Market Street and the western includes Church Street. This might be the edge of your commercially zoned district. The strongest unifying element is the compactness of the business area coupled with the easy walkability of the entire Main Street district. So we just want to hear the narrative to describe why these boundaries were chosen. So we'll do that physical setting. The next one gets more into the characteristics. Describe the characteristics that make the downtown a cohesive and recognizable district with distinct features or architectural character. So again, you might be able to take some information from the statement of significance from that historic nomination that we talked about, that's available on the Department of Housing, or excuse me, the Department of Historic Resources website. So you've got all of the registers are located there. And the statement of significance is a brief description about the historic character and significance. So that, in a way, can help give you a really strong start. So Good example in Hancock is quaint, a waterfront town listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The Main Street District is recognized for the charm of a compact business area reminiscent of an earlier century. Question 4, how the proposed boundaries group complementary assets. We're really looking at the commercial side of things. What are those assets that that you need to focus on over these next 3 years in order to really get a jump on your revitalization activities and start to see the results of your program? So an example, the zoning of the proposed district is primarily commercial, designated B1, so business downtown. The district includes green front furniture as a primary anchor, obviously a large retail establishment that creates a lot of foot traffic, and it's a destination. So with many home decor and garden shops adjacent to the north and east, so really concentrating in that area, in that cluster of businesses, and describing that, what you got within your district. And then describe long-range plans to fill gaps that currently exist in street frontage, such as vacant lots or underutilized surface parking. So you might have a big gap where maybe you've lost a building, think Tappahannock, lost a block. Well, that's still included within their district. Or you've got an underutilized parking lot that has been identified, say, in a master plan for development, or the property owner is open to that. So you just want to describe what that looks like. And in this case, Hancock Downtown Master Plan proposes mixed use for 32 Market Street, vacant lot, continuing the historic storefront, street wall, and sidewalk pattern. The local Main Street program is hosting a small-scale development workshop in the fall to help promote its development. So just how do things look for those areas that may not quite fit within right now, that are getting a little bit into that sort of sprawl type of development, and talk about maybe the future use of that. And then, of course, we got to have a scaled map. Got to have something that accompanies this, that shows us everything that you're describing in narrative, so we can see it. And you want to include these building footprints, street names, existing district boundaries. If there's an expansion or reduction, though, you're not dealing with that in this case. Show the boundaries for the district, so the historic district. So there might be some discrepancies between those. They don't have to be exact, because you may have some commercial buildings that sort of fit that density and mixed use, but yet aren't within the historic district boundaries. So there may be a little bit of differences there. You want to show the building setbacks 15 foot or less. You have that density and the sidewalk-oriented development. You want to have those building footprints, just like what you're seeing here, to scale and so forth, so that we have a really clear understanding of what you're proposing. And then this is really a catch-all. If there's additional information that you want to provide, this is really up to you, and these are just a few examples and not required, okay? So I just want to make that clear. These are just a few examples. So if you have some photos, if you don't think that the map or your descriptions are really selling us, then include some photos of the district. You don't have to. If you have the State Historic Preservation Office, a recommendation letter for the historic district or an expansion that is proposed, something to that effect. Business support letters are being included in there. Site development plan, whatever's going to help us understand best the district that you have there. So that is that. We'll get into questions for that in a moment. All right, so let's talk about the building inventory now. So I do have a question. Here's a little bit of audience participation. So for those who currently have a building inventory, how do you use it? Are you using it yet? And we're getting to something with this. Anyone? You guys are new, and so that building inventory, those who have done it may not have used it just yet. Sanithia, yeah.
We haven't used ours yet, but our goal, one of the first uses we want, well, one of the first things we want to do with it is create a, I guess, inventory our businesses that we have available, one,
Okay.
and then inventory our vacancies.
Yeah.
But have
That's
the
good.
businesses classified a couple of different ways.
Mhm.
location, and then definitely like by class, by, restaurants, entertain, that
Mhm.
jewelry store. Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Good. Thank you, Sunithia. Eric.
Yeah, we have a building inventory. We haven't really used it yet, but we would like to use it to be able to work with the building owners who are absent and do not feel the need to use their buildings for anything. So we'd like to
Yeah.
get them to agree to have something in there, even if it's only some kind of facade, so that it beautifies the neighborhood a little bit. But essentially, we want to use it to interact with the building owners, particularly the ones that are absent and don't have any
Yeah.
tenants in it.
Yeah, create a little bit more vibrancy. It sounds like, using just to be able to identify and communicating with them so you can gain access to it. Maybe to do a window display or something like that, window cling to
Exactly,
make it feel a little
exactly.
more alive in downtown, even though it's currently vacant. Good. Galax. Thank you, Eric.
So we are still developing hours, but we are utilizing hours. And one of the key fields we've captured is owner occupied versus investor owner.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, we've categorized whether they're local, regional, or out of area.
Yeah. And tell me a little bit about why you think that information is important. How would you utilize it?
It helps with building your communication plan. So
Mhm.
if it's owner occupied, you can just walk down the street and distribute information.
Good.
If it's an investor owner, then you're going to have to possibly contact the business owner and then the building owner separate.
Yeah.
And then if it's out of town, you're going to have, if it's regional or out of town, you're going to have to probably correspond by mail or
Yeah.
email.
Yeah, that's good. So, I mean, you can be a little bit more strategic about your communications, targeting a specific audience, especially as it relates to a project that's coming up or a future opportunity. That's great. All right, mano a mano grants. What you got?
It's Wendy from Big Stone Gap. I'm
Thanks,
sorry.
Wendy.
I signed in with my work app instead of on the browser. Sorry.
You're good.
We also have a inventory, and we've gone through and figured out who owns each building. And so we're kind of somewhere in between the last two people. And we also want to go through, we have a number of vacant buildings that aren't loved enough. And so that's our next step, is to then reach out to each of those owners and talk about what can we do if they're not ready to develop those buildings or sell those buildings.
Yeah.
What can we do in those windows? Part of our crew was in Lexington, and we were totally impressed by all of their vacant buildings had some kind of display in the windows that made them look attractive, even though they were vacant. So that's our next step with that building inventory.
That's good. Thank you, Wendy. Tanithia, you want to circle back, huh?
I did, because Mr. Eric actually made a point, and my design committee would probably pop me, because they have actually started they actually utilize our building inventory, because we're starting to try to do a facade, some sort of facade improvement.
Program?
And so we've had to use it to contact we found out, of course, we had some out of town investors, like you're saying, and then some local people who are just kind of absent. So they've already started utilizing that for that purpose, and helping with the facades. And I love the last lady's point about, maybe 2 points up, about the communication plan. I hadn't thought of that. So that was great, a great idea.
Yeah, to hone in on specific audience. Yeah, especially those ones that may, you want input from on developing that program, or to start marketing it to them and incentivizing them doing some work. Brooke.
Hi, so with our building inventory, last fall we worked with a lot of our vacant building owners, and we did a vinyl window project where we put the frosted vinyl on the lower half to kind of hide some of the not so nice stuff, and promotional lettering that's vibrant and bold above it with our QR code so people could contact and reach out to Main Street BV. And now we're currently working with our business owners who have larger spaces, and our promotions committee is working to do a promotion to help them fill some of their larger spaces, reaching out to people who might be, curious entrepreneurs and guiding them, giving them ideas for delis and bookstores and different things. So
nice. Like it, Brooke. Thank you. Clarksville?
That's you.
We have created one, but we really like what you have done, and we can drill it down a little bit further. We've used it as a communication tool, sort of a CRM, with the ability to contact, like one of the others were saying, locals versus out-of-towners. And then even breaking it down to, like, say, churches and different ones, because sometimes we've got to reach out. Let's say the churches don't really need to know what we're talking about because they're not retailers. Yeah. So we've been able to just use it in multiple ways. And again, small town, we often have vacancies. So it's nice to have something to start with where we can just, plug and play.
Yeah, that's good. And for all of you, it sounds like it's probably some sort of spreadsheet. Is that right? You guys can just shake your head or raise your hand. But yeah, that's good. Great. Thank you. This is great. You guys are right on par with where I'm going with this. And again, this is exhaustive. I have one more. Who raised their hand? Who do I see? Oh, Christina, go. I'm sorry, I missed you.
That's okay. We do not have our own yet, but I met with City Council for their budget workshop earlier this week. And in talking with them, I found out that the city already has one for the entire city of Martinsville. So we're getting our hands on that, and we're going to pare it down to our district. So they've kind of already done the work for us. And I mean, it includes everything like inspections, everything.
Yeah.
So that's very exciting. And to mirror what Brooke said, our Economic Vitality Committee has met with one of our local graphic designers and is going to be creating those sort of like storefront facade clings, with the Uptown Partnership Code and everything, giving them ideas of what they can do with that building, and also just like creating beautification until something is done with those buildings. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. I mean, you guys are talking about, I love the ones, the window clings where this building is full of opportunity, or, doing an activity out of this. Who was it? Warrenton several years ago said, what would you like to see in here? And had people, post it. I think there was another community out of Michigan that did a reveal. So they took like a marker that they could draw on glass, and they wrote all these ideas. And as each day counted down to the reveal of what was going to be in that space, they crossed out one of the uses, and so it made for a really exciting ramp up to this reveal. So you guys are going well beyond this building inventory purpose. It's not an exhaustive list, just some ideas here. Obviously, the contact stakeholders. So about the property owner, who is located in that space, and you're able to contact them based on whatever your communication needs are, or getting them involved in the program. A number of different reasons. But you can use that for measuring and tracking progress for your program. So increase in property values, any improvements throughout the year, vacancies going up or down, listings, what are those opportunities that are currently available for sale? Supply of housing, how many units do you have in downtown, and have you created more housing units over the years? And then just physical condition and general targeting design assistance. So as a designated community, design assistance is available, and you can have facade drawings. So if you have somebody that could use a little sprucing up, or property that could use some sprucing up, you can contact them and offer them up some sort of incentive. That's good. And then these building inventories, as we said, they come in a couple different methods of this paper file. It's kind of old. I think that's very, early Main Street. Nowadays, we can use Excel for our spreadsheet, but there's also the bells and whistles of a database if you can get your hands on one of those, and I got an idea for you. So, and the database is great because you can query, sort, and you can create reports about some of these metrics. So, one database to rule them all, benefit of having everything in one place and update all at once.
we have a template for your spreadsheet. Everything's in it. I don't think you have to use all of this. It's going to take a while to populate, but everything is in there. It's got all the bells and whistles, and you can sort it and so forth now. So use that. You don't have to. So if you already have something that's already going, this isn't a requirement. These are for those who need to get started on this, because you need to have this for your application. So just know that you've got a template here if you need to get started. But I want to promote this opportunity. You're going to find out more information about it later on this month. Main Street America is going to provide a how-to webinar about utilizing their BOOMS tracker, or the Building Opportunities on Main Street tracker. So this is a ready-made database that you can use. It's based on Regrid, which I'm not all that familiar with, but well, I'll get that. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but this basically helps you to track it all in a cloud-based database. So all the same information that you'd have in your spreadsheet. So it helps you to gather and store and showcase your data. And then you can input some of those same things, and it just streamlines the process. Oh, my mom's calling me, but she's just gonna have to wait. This is a little snapshot of what it looks like. I mean, this doesn't really tell you a lot. I got a little demonstration while I was at the Main Street Now conference in Birmingham, and so it's really nicely designed, easy to access through the website, and it's a user-friendly interface, scalable for both mobile and desktop devices. And you've got parcel level data easily updated, including images, meaning it's already in there. And what you do is through a survey, you can add additional information like property owners' names, what's the current business that's located in there. So some of the same things. Is there how many housing units, etc. So it's already got a baseline of information for you. And I'd say that the user-friendly interface allows you to walk around with a tablet, and you can add information as you are surveying the district. The other side of this that is really helpful is that it has a local dashboard. So you can see your metrics right off the bat in really a understandable format. So these pie charts, infographics. So you can see here the number of parcels that you have in downtown, the parcels with buildings, buildings that are vacant, numbers of parcels, etc. You can easily have this snapshot report that you can, provide this property data to your relevant parties. It might be a property owner, somebody, an investor that's coming into town. Obviously, your city or your municipality would find that valuable to have this kind of information. Probably a little bit beyond what they do. So the way you can get started, and I know I'm just scratching the surface on this, but the way you get started is that there's a roster of accredited and affiliate programs. So you guys are affiliate programs. Some of you are in there already. So on the roster are Buena Vista, Big Stone Gap, Colonial Beach, and Martinsville. So your boundaries have already been uploaded. You can get started on this right away if you want to start working from this app. A few of the other, the remainder of you, now that you are an affiliate program, Main Street America affiliate, right? You've got a head start now, so you can work with them to get your boundaries into this database and start utilizing this tool. I don't know what the time frame is on that, because they just basically said we could start working on that. This is sort of the beta version that's been launched. So these hyperlinks are active. So when you get the presentation, you can start going through some of the information and checking it out. Let's see. We will all make sure that you know when this BOOMS presentation is going to happen from Main Street America, because we would definitely use this. It's just the beginning. They've just announced this. It is free to you. It is a database. It has. It's going to make things a lot easier. I was told that you could complete your whole inventory of downtown within a couple of days. Now, I know what it is to read a recipe and they say, oh, it only takes 20 minutes to make. We still got to chop up those vegetables. You still got to mince your garlic. It takes a lot longer than they say, but I know that this is going to be a lot easier than if you're starting from scratch and from a template. So think about that. It also can be utilized a lot easier for some of these reports and tracking. All right, so this is just a little reiteration of the main your application. So remember, it's due on October 11th. You submit it via the Google Drive. So there is a folder for that. There is a fillable PDF, and then all of the templates are there in their own folder, and they're all in order of attachment A, attachment B, attachment C. So everything is there already. We can chat a little bit more in just a moment, but just want to sum all this up with your homework. So obviously, start working on this application as soon as you can. Make it easy, make it beautiful, make it clear, really have it represent who you guys are and what all the great work that you have done over the last year and a half is mobilizing communities. And check out any of the attachments that you may need to work on for those who do not have a building inventory, for instance. It may take a little bit of time. Get started on that. Certainly continue to meet with your PA for technical assistance, and then explore submitting a VMS Merit Award nomination. You all may have some good work behind you, and we want to celebrate with you on that success. So think about that. And so the information will be in that slide. I think we should definitely share that information again so that you have it easily accessible. And then just know that your next huddle, since we've got the VITA summer meeting in June, your next huddle will not be until July, but hopefully we see you in Danville in June, and you can meet some of your cohort here face to face. All right. So at this point, what do we need to clarify? What information would help you to easily move forward and get this done? Or got a bewildered look on your face? How might I wipe that off? Do we have somebody raising their hands? Joe, what you got?
Hey, I love maps. I'm excited to get to the scaled map for showing boundaries. My question is, for all the overlays, there might be quite a few. I know we have at least half a dozen. That might be useful to know where these boundaries are. Some from the some from the municipality, some from us as the Main Street organization.
Yeah.
Do you recommend they all stay on the scaled map and they don't become several scaled maps? If there's any.
It's helpful to see that. One, to understand the boundaries of your enterprise zone versus, what is included within your Main Street district. What is your historic district boundaries versus what yours, and obviously in different colors, so that you're able to see the differences. It's really, I find that to be helpful.
Sure.
Yeah. Circling back to booms, right now, there isn't the capability to print off a map, but they're working on that. So they're adding some features after some recent input, and so that you're able to do those kinds of things like print a PDF, export, what is it, a CSV file, so you could have a spreadsheet version of it. So there are things like that that'll be happening. Any other hands, any other questions that would help you guys out? And we can circle back to some questions about the general application too. Anything we've talked about to this point? Wow. Clarksville, how are you feeling about the application?
We know it's a tall order and it's going to be a group project. So we're all kind of going, October's going to come fast because we're in our high season. So we're thinking about ways to break it up and come together and work on things on our own and meet frequently long before October.
Divide and conquer. Be glad you didn't apply in 2020. It was a much bigger application. The teammates here really worked hard to simplify it and base it off of all the curriculum and the work that you've done over the last year. So hopefully you'll find it fairly easy to move through it. Covington, are there any questions?
Yes, that template that you showed a couple slides back.
Uh-huh.
Where do we find that?
Yeah, so that's all here. So in the Google Drive. So you'll
Okay.
find the fillable PDF for the general application, and then there's also a file with all of the attachments. And so you'll see boundary application, attachment B, boundary application, attachment C, building inventory, etc. You want to label them when you submit. And like I said, you don't have to use that building inventory. It's just there as an example, and should you want to. But really encourage those everyone to dive into that booms, especially those who are already on the roster, and those who aren't on the roster, start communicating with them to make sure you get your boundaries into the district. But yeah, dividing and conquering is the way to go. Anything else?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, Ellie, you're allowed to ask a question. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. I just, out of curiosity, want to ask have you collectively been able to look at the application yet? How many of our mobilizing communities have had a chance to look at the application so far?
Covington
Thanks
has.
on Gap. Okay.
Martinsville has.
Colonial Beach
Yeah.
has.
Colonial
Great.
Beach has,
Awesome. Good.
and we've had a
Leadstone Gap
work group
has.
session.
Good. Yeah, download a copy for you and start roughing it in. Good. And there is a file for each of you in that Google Drive in the application folder. So you can start collecting all of your attachments that you already have. Remember, you've got some of your 501c3 information, like your award letter and so forth, that needs to be uploaded. There's tons of things that you already have, and you can go ahead and upload those and scratch them off. You're going to feel a great deal of progress just in that moment. Anything else? Oh, okay. Wendy?
I don't see the booms link. I'm going through the drive right now and somehow I'm missing it.
Oh, you won't have that. That'll be in the presentation. So I'll make sure you
Okay.
get that. But also, if you Google it, and anybody can put that in, maybe one of my teammates, Google Main Street America booms, and that website is right there. And it's got, I mean, I stole all my information just from their website. Okay. So somebody search that, and then you can just pop it into chat. But it's an easy Google search. It's nicely designed, and you can start looking at what's there. And for those who already are on the roster, you can go ahead and create your account and all that kind of stuff. And if should you find this helpful, I'm going to explore it. Anything else?
Ellie just dropped the link in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you, Ellie. Joe.
Yeah, I was just wondering, Kyle, when would we get the PowerPoint presentation from today?
Oh, I'll get this out before the end of the day.
Right on.
Well,
Thank you.
as soon as I have the recording. So I'll reach out as soon as the recording is able to download, hopefully end of day today, if not tomorrow morning.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I can upload the presentation to the module on the Google Drive. So that can be in there. The recording will follow. How about that? Yeah, go back to, it's probably been a little while since you all have had your hands in the Mobilizing Main Street Google Drive, but go back and revisit it, because you've got a lot of homework that you uploaded that goes along with the application too. You might have forgotten what you have in there. Refamiliarize yourselves with it. And the links that we provide here are enabled for anyone with the link to access it, but I know that some of you have had trouble. It won't let you for some reason, but I think that's on your side. Like, I've done everything I can with these links, that they have the right setting for anybody with a link to access it, that you guys are enabled to edit your files and so forth. So I don't know what's going on there. Anybody have any ideas? Did you find a solution if you encountered that? Kelly?
Yes, I have encountered that multiple times. I had multiple people try as well, just to make sure it wasn't my era, and they
Okay.
have not. So I'm having IT with the town take a look at it.
Okay.
But they're a little backed up. So
Okay.
we'll
Okay.
see what happens. But
And
I'll
it may
keep you
be,
posted.
yeah. And I wonder
It
if it's a
wasn't just me, it was others. So that made me feel a little bit better anyway. But
Okay,
yes,
okay.
there are some issues, and it may just be the computer settings and things. So
Your
we'll work on it.
municipal computer? Okay.
It
Or
is.
maybe try a civilian computer too.
Right.
And
But
hey,
everything that I need is on my on
I
my other.
gotcha. I
Right.
gotcha.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I don't think Google operates this way. We probably could, but you know how proprietary they are. So you might, I don't think you have to be on Chrome. I think you can access it from other
Right.
other
Remotely.
browsers. Yeah.
Yeah. I've done that before in previous
Okay.
aspects, but for some reason
Okay.
this has not been friendly for me.
Oh,
So
goodness.
we'll figure
All
it
right.
out.
Well, keep working with me. We'll figure it out. That's right. All right. Well, anybody else? Any other questions? Your team, reach out, stay in touch, do your monthly meetings. Colonial Beach, I think we need to get a regular meeting back on the calendar and talk about those things. But I know we're in communication. This is the team.
Kyle?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Eric.
Yeah, I just looked at the map that Booms has for Colonial Beach, and it's not the boundaries that we have determined internally.
Okay.
And I'm not sure, maybe we can have a conversation offline about that.
Yeah. So I actually have, we can. That is one thing I was able to snag, is that you can update your boundaries. So that this link right here will take you to that information about how you do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. All right, y'all. It's almost 10 of. I hear, I can imagine stomachs grumbling right now. So we can wrap it up if there are no questions. Thanks everybody for gathering. And I hope to see you all in person at the summer meeting. Yeah, we got to celebrate all these awards. So if you need help thinking of an award, reach out to your PA and we can brainstorm. Good deal. Otherwise, I'm going to set you free. Does that sound good? Thanks for gathering today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You bet. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I try. And my voice travels too. Sorry.
Are we staying on or we're hopping off?
Oh, we're all here.